Hello, good day and welcome to the Little Farmer's Farm with me, Goonham Offender, and today we've picked up some more stones. Yee-hee-pee! Now, I reckon we've got about 100 quid's worth of stones from this haul alone, about 15 bags. I'll show you the bags. Excuse me. So these are sort of half filled, a lot of these bags. So we've got, what, about 30 litres, 30 kilos of stone in each one, and you can feel it in your back when you're trying to move them about and load them up. But we've took these from my neighbour's garden. He had two sort of big areas full of these stones, and altogether we must have had about, I don't know, we must have had a good 45 bags of stone off it, and I reckon each bag would be about a tenner if you was to buy them. Depends where you go, I suppose. B&Q, they'd probably be about £7, so you're probably talking a good 300 odd quid's worth of 300 plus pounds sterling in the English money, or around about what, $380 US for free. Well, practically for free. All it's cost us is the fuel in mix Land Rover. It's a Freelander, I think he's got, mate. Something like that. And it took us about 3 runs altogether to get all the stone. But we split it 50-50. But that's definitely what you need. You need one of these trailers for that. Or a friendly compadre who's got one. You know what I mean? I couldn't get that in my BMW, all that stuff. But it took me about 30 trips. But Mick's got loads of stone, and he already had, on these allotments you can have stone and you can top up your stone as long as you've already got stone on, and he already had stone on. So that's what we're doing, topping up. You can see all these paths of stone, and it does definitely suppress the weeds. There he is, there's Magical Mick Derbyshire from old Mac Derby's farm, right there. Right, mate.
I'm getting off, because we'll have to go out finish.
Just say we've just been picking up some more stone, haven't we?
Yeah.
And this is what you get. It's a lot better for weeding. It suppresses the weeds miles better than obviously having nothing down. And with flags, you will get them growing up between the flags, and they can be difficult to pull out, the paving slabs. But with the stone, it is dead easy to weed. See, every path practically, and he just tops them up. You only have to top them up well, depends on how often you want them topping up. You know, they do sink over time, but if you get a good couple of layers of stone on, they'll last for donkey's years before you have to renew. But yeah, they do sink into the soil over time. But I think he's had them on here for about 5 or 6 years, and this is the first sort of top up he's had to do. And it's a lot easier than laying flags. Or paving, if you prefer. We call them flags in this country, laying flags down. And I have got some paving slabs or flags up at the top, which I'm going to use for another project, but for these sort of little narrowish kind of pathways, it's a lot easier, although it is heavy on the back. So if you're a frail person, just be very careful and get some assistance. All right, guys, I'm gonna finish that pathway off. Yeah, so apologies if you can pick up the wind here, guys, but that's the path. You can see where the damp stone is. That should dry out. Any muck that's on it should wash down. And I've just got to keep my eye on the weeds then. It's not going to be too much of a hassle, you know. Find that stone paths are a lot less weedy. And you just go around, spend a couple of minutes pulling up the ones that pop their heads up, you know. The cheeky dandelions and such like that pop their heads up. because we are plagued in the next month or so. We'll be plagued with dandelion. Dent de lion, the tooth of the lion, which can be eaten, the leaf, as a bitter green. And apparently it's very good for you. In the US of A, they do sell dandelion leaf, apparently, don't they? I've never seen it in this country for sale. It's like endive and plants like that. It's a special taste, and we don't tend to favour it. We like the sweeter greens. But yeah, dandelion leaf, you can eat it. You can have it in smoothies. You can have it in juices and things like that. A couple of apples in with your juice, and it's okay. I've actually had it like that before in a juice, and it was okay. You're just going to take the edge off that, because it is really bitter. So you're just going to take the edge off it. But yeah, it's a pest to the gardener in the United Kingdom, the dandelion. It's everywhere. Well, spring has come, and it's time to start the onions, which should be sort of coming through late summer. So it's March the 10th today. Yeah. And so we're going to start the onions in the form of centurion first. Onion centurion, which are these. We're also going to be doing the Stuttgarter. I'm going to be starting them off in trays. This time of year, people do tend to just stick them in the ground. You can do. I'm going to start them off in the little starter cells. These are the Stuttgarter. And we're going to see how they go. Now, I've got, according to the packet, there are 150 little onion starts or sets in each packet. Sorry, 50 in each packet. So I've got 150 because I've got 3 packets. Technically, well, I don't think I've got 150 that I'm going to be viably using. What I'm going to do is have an A team, a B team, and a discards. The ones that didn't make the cut. Now the B team, I might reconsider later down the line, but I probably won't. I'll probably give them away to other growers, because I'm quite fascist about my onions, and I like to get like nice shapes and a decent size of onion before I plant them. So I go through them first of all, and I check them for quality. I do quality control on them, which is what I'm going to be doing now. All right. Okay, so I've been through the Derry packs of Centurion. Derry, not Derriere. They're not that bad. They're good. Of the Centurion onions, and I've picked up. I wanted 124 to put into the cells, and I've got 124. So I'm going to go through the store on next. But what I'll do is I'll show you just how to sort of start them off in the cells. So those are our A team, and I've taken out, there's about 12 that I'm going to pass on to other people, because there's 124 in there. There's about 12 there, and that's just the trash, really. The really tiny ones, the ones that are dried out already, that kind of stuff, and all the loose paper from off the skins of the onions, and I put them in there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start off putting them into trays like these 12 cell trays, and jobs are good. Hello folks. So what we need to do now is I've been getting the compost, just a standard compost from this is stuff from Paul Green Nurseries at Church Lane, Charnock, Richard, boys and girls. I don't get endorsed by him, and I don't get anything knocked off. I just like the place. I should apply for some sort of a deal with them lot, really, shouldn't I, at Paul Green. But they're as tight as cramp. They've not offered. They're not offered as yet. I always plug them. Anyway, that's not what it's all about. What it's about today is starting onions off. So this compost, I don't even sieve this, because you don't need to really for onions. You just take the big lumps out. Any big sort of clumps of unrotted vegetation, uncomposted vegetation and twigs and stuff like that, as you come across them, or as I come across them, I just sort of pick them out, rub them between my fingers like that, and then feel for the lumps. Any lumps like this one. Those in there, but you don't have to fine sieve this at all for onions. Not part of the equation, that, which is good because it's a pain in the backside actually fine sieving your compost. You don't have one of them shaker machines. So I got a sufficient amount. This is probably enough to do about 4 of these trays, of these cells. And basically I just put them in there like that. Not even bother to clean these, doesn't really matter for the onions. These are the same as the onions came out of last year. They're going back in this year. Or the cousins are. Going back in the trays this year. And I just tamp them down like that. Try and fill them up as best as you can. So you get them quite close to the top. Because what we want to do is, the whole idea of this is, starting them off in trays, is so that the roots can get established and the shoots can pop through. Once the shoots are about 2 or 3 inches long, the actual shooting stems that are coming up through the centre of them, you can plant them out, or I tend to plant them out, which will probably be in about 3 weeks' time. So the back end, just going into April really, they get planted out, these. But I try and fill them up because I want the cell to be filled with onion root. And that'll give it the best chance once they do get planted out. Good roots, good plants, generally speaking. So that's what we want to establish the root system first. So all I do is I push my finger in, my pointy finger, into the holes, about half the way down. Or it tends to be up to this knuckle, that first knuckle on me, which is about 1 inch. And just so that the bases can go in. You get the base of the onion in there. And just select an onion, a baby onion, pop him in, up to the shoulder. Tend to do that. So that the snout is poking out. But not too much of the onion is poking out. And that's just so that it can sit in the soil, spread its roots underground, under the surface, establish its roots, but not push itself out. Because if they're too near to the top, the roots will grow and it will tend to push itself out, the onion. And hopefully what will happen is that these baby onions will send roots out and more or less fill up these cells in 3 weeks with the root system. So that when we plant them outside, they're ready to rock and roll. They've already got that established root system, but they've not been too cosseted. I mean, you can plant them directly, but I don't tend to favour that. We did it one year, and we got a lot of failures. Now I don't know whether that was because we planted them directly, or whether I did something else wrong, but it sort of put me off direct planting. So I do like to give them a bit of a start first of all, like this. You know, before they go out. So they'll be started off in here in the tiki tunnel, which is the original trampoline framed polytunnel that I created with these 2 hands. You can see that in the videos. But this will keep them relatively cosy and warm for a few weeks until the weather picks up, and then once they're established, the root system is developed, then and the shoots are up, then they can go out. They can go out onto the plot. Okay, so that's one. I'll just need to stick a label in there so I know which one it is, because we're having a bit of a shootout between the Centurion and the Stuttgarter. So that's the Centurion, and it's the actually the 9th of the 3rd, the 9th of March today. I said the 10th, but it's not. It's Sunday the 9th of March. And that's how they look. Just like that, dead easy, really easy. You don't need any feed or anything mixed in with your fertiliser, with your your compost. You don't need any of that. No fertilisers. Let the roots seek out that nutrition. It's quite barren stuff, this. So what the plant wants to do to get itself established is to seek out any nutrition that might be in that growing medium, in that compost. And it encourages it to do that. Once we plant them out, there will be nutrition in the soil. There'll be fertiliser in the soil, which we'll talk about at that stage. But at this stage, that's all. That is all you need to do to get them started. And then they go into a watering tray, a tray with water in, and that compost then will soak up the. I always bottom water with these baby starts, and that soaks it up through capillary action, and you'll get the moisture going in, but not too much. You know, you don't need it too much because you might get a bit of discoloration and I forget what it's called now, but you'll get some sort of like mossy effect on the top, which you don't want because it might interfere with your onions. So let me crack on and I'll get all of them into the trays, and then we'll put them into the watering trays, and then they'll be going into my cold frame inside the greenhouse if I can fit them in. Although you don't really need to. You don't really need to put them in a cold frame. I might just clear off these benches and stick them in here because I've got a lot of them and I don't think they'll all fit in that cold frame. I might use that for the more delicate plants later on. We've got peas in there at the moment, but I'm waffling on. Stay with me. You can have a look at that when I decide what to do with them. So as you know, we collect water from the shed of the tiki hut, our super duper shed, with the solar panels on and everything, which I'll show you later if you haven't seen it. And the water gets collected into these drums. Waste not, want not. Collected into these drums, or space-saving water butts, as they're called. And so it fills them up. So I think there are 100 litre ones. So there's 500 litres collected there. And because we get quite a bit of rain in this country, it's not often that we run out of water. But anyway, there you go. It's a good way of collecting it. And they go in there into the watering can, and the watering can gets tipped in up there, and I'll show you. It's just to start off these onions. Yeah, so just fill it up, really, not to the very top, but to the middle line. There are 3 lines, if you see. 3 lines. 1, 2, 3. Actually, I'm counting the bottom one, so 1, 2 actually. So 2 lines up is where I go with the water. Fill it up to there. And then just leave it. Because what will happen is that water, it will not just be sat in the water, it'll soak it up into the trays through capillary action. It soaks up the water, and all the compost gets moisturised, if you like, by that process. As you can see, I can't get them all into one tray though, because I've got 2 left over there. I need 10, 120 there were altogether. So that's what we've got. I didn't want to start another tray, to be honest. So what I've done is I've put the spare ones in with that lot, my giveaways. So I'm going to be giving those away to people on the plot. So I think there's about a 19 there. So altogether, I reckon I'll have about 40 spare ones that I can give away. Now, there's no guarantee that all those are going to come through, but those are the ones that I want. Ideally, if I can get 200 onions, that's all right. No, 210 onions I want. We've got 240 that we're going to be actually planting out. But yeah, 210. If I can get 210 at the end of the season, that's all right. Because I like them to be dividable by 3. Because we usually get through 3, maybe 4 sometimes onions, dividable by 3, so that we can get them all. We can sort of plan meals and things like that through the year. But they should, if they all come through, if we get 240 coming through, that'd be fantastic. But if we get 210, 220, last year we only lost 2 onions last year. Of the sort of spring planted ones, the overwintered ones, we lost about 9 or 10. But we only lost 2 last year. But we only planted 60 last year. So if we lose 10, Produce 20. It's alright, innit? It doesn't matter. Still got enough onions, you know what I mean? Okay, it's as easy as pie. Absolute doddle. Starting onions off. It really is. But I've run out of time, so I can't start the Stutzgarde. Because I've got to be down the shops, down the Asda, to do some shopping for our Sunday tea. And it's 3:30 now. So I'll see you next time, boys and girls. Hope you enjoyed it. Peace, love and namaste. Take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful weekend. And remember, we love you all. All right. Take care now. Bye-bye. Ta-da. See you on Saturday. Bye now.